People online and in real life, people for me and against me, ask me all the time, why did you go from fundamentalist evangelical Christian to atheist YouTuber and activist? Well, I didn't exactly mean to, but I'm really glad to be where I am, so there's a bit of a story to tell here. To be clear, the context of my life makes this a much bigger question than why do you make videos? That context is, I was raised in a family and in a culture where everyone unquestionably dedicated their life to serving Jesus Christ. Now, atheist activism, making these videos, running a conference, helping new atheists find community, is my full-time job. I quit my office job over a year ago to do this full-time. I think the best way to explain the change is to show how it wasn't actually sudden and extreme, but that there's an intricate story here. It happened gradually, and for reasons which I hope you'll see are rather sensible. My evangelical background. I've mentioned that I was raised fundamentalist evangelical Christian enough times on my channel for most people to know that by now, but what I need to make clear here is just how important that was to my life back then. In my family, my church, my school, and my group of friends, being Christian was not even a question. Everyone was expected to go to church multiple times per week, to pray constantly, to love God more than one's own family, to spread the gospel, and to dedicate one's entire existence to Jesus Christ. Having a personal relationship with Jesus wasn't just part of life, it was the only thing that life was meant for and the only purpose that anyone could have. This life was universally known to be fleeting and unimportant, except for its role in determining how people would spend the eternal afterlife. That afterlife, by the way, was either an eternity of pure bliss in heaven or of unimaginably painful torture in a literal lake of fire. Only the few people that believed in our specific gospel message went to heaven. Everyone else, regardless of any other factor, we thought, went to hell. If you put yourself in my former place, in that environment and in that belief system, it makes sense, if you care at all about other people, to dedicate yourself to spreading the gospel. I did and always have cared about others, so I dedicated my life to serving God and trying to keep others from going to hell. My plan of how to do that, now that I look back on it, was really unethical and embarrassing. I was getting my degree in counseling psychology at a Christian school, and I planned to become a licensed professional counselor. Then I would move to Utah, work in a practice with a counselor I already knew there, and use my influence as a therapist to convert Mormons under my care. Yeah. I see how manipulative that would be now, but luckily, I left Christianity right after getting my bachelor's degree. Becoming an atheist. So this video isn't for explaining why I became an atheist. I've already made that video and it's linked in the description. For this video, just know that my deconversion was not the result of some emotional crisis, but of careful, rational thought. However, where I found myself socially after that experience was a pretty terrifying place. I didn't know any atheists. Everyone I knew fervently opposed everything I stood for. And until I became willing to be a pariah as an open atheist, I'd be expected to base every facet of my life on something I thought was false. I chose not to come out as an atheist for quite a while, but we'll get to that more in a bit. After getting past the initial shock and terror of being as alone and vulnerable as I was, I began to more closely examine the actual cause of that isolation, and I got angry. I and everyone I knew had been taught all our lives that the people like the person I was in that moment were confused, broken, immoral, and not to be associated with. Now I knew that the basis of that teaching was a lie, and that everyone I knew believed it and consequently hurt people for no good reason. If you can't sympathize due to your beliefs or your own experiences, then just empathize here. Put yourself in my place. I was surrounded by people who, because of their belief in the Bible as the inerrant word of God, taught that all humans were filthy and worthless without God, that LGBT people didn't deserve equal rights and should be converted to straight, that any science that disagreed with a literal interpretation of the Bible was wrong and should be purged from academia, that health conditions could be the result of demonic possession in many cases, and that anyone who disagreed with any of this was arrogant, confused, hateful, or even under demonic influence. Meanwhile, I'm thinking that the Bible is not the inerrant word of God, that it doesn't justify those beliefs as true, and that those ideas in their falsehood are hurting people every day. I think that's a good reason to be upset. There's a cliche line that people like to throw at atheists. If you don't believe in God, then why do you talk about him so much? Honestly, I think it's pretty easy to see why if you just look at things from our perspective. So I entered a state of mind still early in my atheism where I wanted to address the problems I saw around me. See, I didn't become an atheist and just automatically think that I needed to evangelize for atheism and convince everyone that God's not real. I just wanted to do something to help people who were hurt by acts based upon false beliefs. For many reasons, though, I couldn't. Not yet. If I came out all at once, I knew my life would basically be over. I'd definitely lose my job, I'd lose my friends, and the pressure from all sides of the family might make me lose my marriage. I stayed in the closet to everyone but my wife for about a year, and to most friends and family for much longer than that. In that time, the atheist YouTube community really helped me feel like I wasn't alone. I began to cope with my feelings and gain a healthier mindset than that of the angry atheist phase. For all it did in helping me get there, atheist YouTube had my admiration. Starting a channel. From what I've said so far, it might sound like I've always wanted to start a channel to talk about atheism, but that's not quite true. As far back as October 2016, I wanted to start a YouTube channel, but one primarily about debunking alternative medicine. Before doing anything at all online, though, I needed to come out to my parents so that I could ensure that coming out would happen on my terms. That finally happened in February of 2017, and by then I was more than ready to start making videos. I thought I might change some minds with my channel, but more than anything, I just needed to be able to express myself. I had just spent a year compulsively hiding who I was from my parents, and I still hid it from most people. I just needed an outlet. As I worked on my first few videos, I decided that my channel wouldn't shy away from addressing religion or atheism. Besides, I thought I'd probably never get big enough for my friends or family to stumble across my videos and realize I was an atheist. I started in March 2017. Making my first 3 videos was fun and cathartic, but really nothing more. Then I made my 4th video, How Alternative Medicine Pushed Me to Atheism, and I got a few comments from people saying that they had a similar experience and were glad that I shared my story. I kept going, and a few weeks later, Hemant Mehta actually shared a video of mine on the Friendly Atheist blog. I was just inundated with encouraging comments, and I gained my first 1,000 subscribers from that. By then, making videos was my favorite hobby, and I began putting more care into my scripts. Several videos later, other creators I highly respected like Godless Cranium, Apologia, Godless Engineer, Holy Kool-Aid, and Rationality Rules started showing support for my channel, collaborating with me, and helping me grow. Finally, the pivotal moment in all of this happened. I got my first message from a subscriber thanking me for doing what I did. They said they couldn't speak up because of their family and living situation, and that hearing me say what they couldn't made them feel like they finally weren't alone and they weren't crazy. I had somehow done for someone else what atheist YouTube had done for me in the past. Nothing could have motivated me more to keep going and to do the kind of work that would affect more people in the way that atheist YouTube had affected me. From there, I grew pretty aggressively. I did some collabs, one being with Cosmic Skeptic. I grew to over 10,000 subscribers, and I did a live stream for charity, raising $5,000 for secular activists in need, places like Bangladesh. Suddenly, things got very serious in several ways. I used my first ad revenue check to buy some new video equipment. I started spending more time on videos, and I regularly spent time talking to and helping closeted atheists who were suffering from isolation and endangerment. I was in all ways invested, and it was nearly impossible to hide from my friends and family. Those who knew about me were always dragged into helping me cover things up, and my activism started to come at a serious cost. Online, I constantly got messages thanking me and telling me to keep going, but the cost of hiding my activism got so high that I thought I might just be better off deleting my channel. That time of contemplation, of recognizing that taking some burden off others required me to take on some burdens myself, made me understand what it took to be an activist. With a lot of encouragement from my wife and creators like Holy Kool-Aid, Shannon Q, Godless Engineer, Caitlin Chloe, and a few who will keep anonymous, I decided to keep going and to explain my situation to my subscribers. Here's a snapshot of that time, a clip from a video I posted in February of 2018 called I'm an Atheist Activist in the Closet. I've had teenagers from all over message me that if they just came out as atheists to their parents, they'd be kicked out and disowned. and that my videos help them feel comfortable with themselves, that coming to my channel helps keep them sane in the insane place that they live. I can't, in good conscience, stop what I'm doing for fear of disapproval from those I love when I know that my work provides solace for those who need it. It would be wrong to stop as soon as I experience negative repercussions when there are countless people out there that have it way worse than I do and need videos like mine just to get by. And even if all that was stripped away, it's enough that doing this makes me happy, and it really does. It should be enough for my friends and family too. This is what I do, and I'm going to keep doing it for as long as I'm able. I'll even do it full time if I'm ever able to. To my loved ones, I'm sorry if being kept in the dark about this and hearing me oppose the views we both once believed in hurts you. It hurts me that disagreement even has to be an issue which causes you any discomfort. But greater pain is allowed to thrive when people like me, who have it within their power to help those in pain, selfishly refuse to do so. I'm here to stay, YouTube. Stay skeptical. Posting that video cemented my commitment to helping others through my activism. 2 months later, in April of 2018, other atheist YouTubers and I put on the first Faithless Forum, the first ever conference run by and for atheist YouTubers. A month after that, my supporters allowed me to go full-time as an activist. Now I'm over a year into my full-time activism, and I'm incredibly happy to be where I am. Now, with the help of countless caring, generous people, I've been able to grow my channel to a decent size, and I'm happy with the success that I've enjoyed on that front. But my goals have never changed. They're the same as they were when I made that video about being in the closet. They're the same as when I first helped closeted atheists find local communities. They're the same as they were the second I read the first message I ever got thanking me for what I did. I want to help people feel like they're not alone, they're not crazy, and they're worthwhile regardless of religion. Like I thought at the start of my channel, I'd love to change some minds, but really, that's secondary. I say it often these days, if my work never changes a single mind, but makes at least one person feel worthwhile, then it's all worth it. Of course, I want my channel to keep growing, to be better known. Why is that? I want to help as many people as I can, and reaching more people means reaching more people. My goals aren't changing anytime soon. When I was a Christian, I wanted to help people, and I planned to win souls for Christ in order to do that. Now that I'm no longer a Christian, I still want to help people, and my atheist activism is how I do it. To tell you the truth, I think I've wanted to help people for purely humanistic reasons for my entire life. So to anyone who thinks that my character has changed since becoming an atheist, you're sorely mistaken. If there's one thing I've learned from this transition of sorts, it's the value of empathy, the cornerstone of all that I do. And if at this point you're still wondering why atheist activism is necessary, then you might need to try some empathy yourself. Thanks for watching. I've been Drew of Genetically Modified Skeptic. If you want to be part of a fun, positive atheist community online, I strongly recommend my Discord server. I often recommend it to non-believers I speak to who are in need of a place where they can just be themselves for once. I know it would have been really great for me before I found a community through YouTube, so I hope it can help you out if you need it. There's a link to my server in the description. As always, go ahead and subscribe. Check out my Patreon. Follow me on Twitter and Facebook at GM Skeptic. Join my Discord, and until next time, stay skeptical.